So, you want to be a polymath, a master of many, the kind of person who can paint like an artist, code like a developer, think like a philosopher, speak like a diplomat, and strategize like a Fortune 500 CEO. Sound impossible? It's not. And in fact, there's never been a better time in history to become one. If you've ever felt like you don't fit neatly into one box, if you're the kind of person who wants to learn everything and refuses to be told you can only be just one thing in life, then you've just clicked on the right video. Because this one's for you. The rise of the new Renaissance human. We're living in a world where academia is crumbling, where critical thinking is in decline, and where blind specialization has started to show its cracks. And yet, in the midst of all that, there's a quiet revolution happening, a return to what we once celebrated centuries ago. The Renaissance ideal, the polymath. You've seen them in fiction characters like Tony Stark or Bruce Wayne. They design, invent, build, lead, calculate, and fight all with precision. But this isn't just for the movies. In real life, this mindset is more achievable now than ever before. Why? Because we have access to more free knowledge, faster learning tools, and broader communities than any generation before us. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can become one of them. What this video will give you, by the time you finish watching, you'll understand what being a polymath really means and what it doesn't. Why it's incredibly relevant right now, not just for society, but for you. How to develop multiple deep, valuable skills, not as a dabbler, but as a master. And most importantly, how to train yourself to keep learning effectively for life. So let's break it down. Chapter 1, Why Polymathy Matters. Let's start with the basics. What is a polymath? At its core, a polymath is someone who achieves a high level of mastery across multiple disciplines, not just surface-level understanding, but deep expert-level knowledge in various fields. They're not simply dabblers or generalists. They don't kind of know a lot of things. They strive for true proficiency. They go deep. Polymaths aren't driven by trends or titles. They're driven by relentless, sometimes obsessive curiosity. Think about historical giants like Leonardo da Vinci, Marie Curie, Benjamin Franklin, or Gottfried Leibniz. They weren't confined to a single label. They were scientists, artists, writers, inventors, mathematicians, sometimes all in one lifetime. Polymaths versus generalists. Now you might be wondering, isn't that just being a generalist? Not quite. Generalists are adaptable, yes. They move easily between areas. But polymaths go beyond adaptability, they master. The difference is depth versus breadth. Generalists often skim. Polymaths dive deep again and again. So why does it matter? Because our world desperately needs more people who can see the bigger picture, who can connect dots across fields, who can create the next big innovation, not from narrow expertise, but from wide, interconnected understanding. Society pushes specialization. Here's the problem. Let's be honest. From the moment we're kids, we're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? As if there's only room for one answer, one identity, one path, one job. Don't get me wrong, specialization isn't bad. In fact, it's necessary for many careers. But it also has a downside. It creates tunnel vision. You become brilliant at one thing and blind to everything else. You solve problems in silos. You miss the cross-pollination of ideas, and that's a recipe for stagnation. The polymath advantage. Now imagine this. You're fluent in code, but also in design. You understand economics, but also human psychology. You think like a philosopher, but execute like an engineer. What happens when those abilities collide? Innovation, creativity, unmatched problem solving. Polymathy allows us to escape the trap of shallow focus. It helps us think in systems, spot hidden patterns, and ask better questions. It brings originality back into the game. So why should you care? Because polymathy isn't just for the elite. It's not just for geniuses or fictional superheroes. It's for the curious, for the ones who want more, for the ones who never really fit into one box and never wanted to. It's not about being perfect at everything. It's about constantly learning, constantly evolving, even when the world tells you to stay in your lane. Chapter 2, Self-actualization comes first. Before you can master skills, you need to master yourself. Because as the old saying goes, he who conquers himself is mightier than he who conquers a city. So before we get into learning tactics and time management, let's talk about mindset. Becoming a polymath begins with a growth mindset, the belief that your intelligence and ability aren't fixed, but can expand with effort, strategy, and time. You are not bound by what you know today. You are not defined by what you studied in school. You are only limited by how much you believe you can change. A polymath's mindset. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. This is not discouraging, it's liberating. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to be the most committed to learning. That's why ego is the first thing to throw out. If you want to be great at many things, you need to be humble enough to suck at them first. Be a student, always. Approach everything with curiosity, not comparison. Heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect? It's the psychological phenomenon where people who know little often think they know a lot, and the people who know a lot often feel like they know very little. This is the paradox every polymath must face. The smarter you get, the more aware you are of your ignorance. So let go of the need to look smart. Focus instead on getting better. Be okay with being a beginner over and over again. That's the real superpower. Here's something no one tells you when you begin your journey as a polymath. The more you learn, the more you realize how little you truly know. And that realization, it can either humble you or paralyze you. Because when you start gaining knowledge, your confidence rises. But over time, if you're not careful, that confidence can evolve into arrogance, and suddenly you stop growing. You start thinking, I've read the books, I've got the skills, I know enough, and that's when growth ends. This is why it's so important to stay grounded. Always assume there's more to learn, because there always is. Avoid the trap of overconfidence. There's a name for the mistake many people make on the learning curve, the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's when you know just enough to be dangerous, but not enough to realize how much you're missing. You overestimate your knowledge and stop questioning your assumptions. That's where real learning stalls. So here's the mindset shift. Stay curious, stay humble. Treat every skill like you're still at day one, even when you're years in. Set systems, not just goals. Now let's talk about goals. Everyone sets them. Few people stick to them. Why? Because goals are outcome focused. They're binary. You hit them or you don't. But systems are process focused. They're repeatable, they're sustainable. They're habits you can actually follow day in, day out. Don't just set the goal to learn a language. Set a system 30 minutes a day with flashcards, listening, practice, and a weekly speaking session. Because guess what? Consistency beats complexity every single time. You don't need a master plan. You need something simple and consistent. And if you just get 1% better every single day, that compounds into a version of you that's barely recognizable a year from now. The foundations you can't skip. Let's get brutally honest for a second. None of this polymath stuff works. If your body and brain are falling apart, mental and physical health aren't optional. They're the foundation. Neglect your mind and stress will eat away at your focus. Neglect your body and fatigue will sabotage your energy. A true polymath doesn't just train their intellect. They build a durable vessel for long-term growth. That means regular exercise, yes, even if you hate it. Clean, consistent sleep. Real nutritious food, not caffeine and sugar on loop. Time for reflection and mental reset. Forget the brains over brawn debate. Both matter. Discipline is built in the gym. Resilience is built when you sweat. And clarity is built when your health is aligned. This sounds obvious. Yes, because it is. You've heard this advice before, haven't you? Sleep well, eat clean, exercise, avoid distractions, manage your time. So obvious it's boring, right? And yet, most people still don't follow it. I'm not saying this to parrot cliches at you. I'm saying it to emphasize their importance. These aren't optional lifestyle hacks. They are core principles, the building blocks of sustained exponential learning. Because none of the theory matters if your mind is overwhelmed and your body is shutting down. Manage your time like it's currency. Let's talk time. It's the most limited non-renewable resource you've got, and it disappears whether you use it well or not. If you want to become a polymath, you need to own your hours. Forget complicated productivity systems. Start with the basics. Organize your day. Prioritize your tasks. Block time for what actually matters. If your to-do list is 50 items long and half of them don't move you forward, delete them. You don't need more hours in the day. You need to protect the hours you already have. The mind killer. Let's be real. Procrastination is one of the biggest barriers to growth, and yeah, I struggle with it too. We wait, we overthink. We tell ourselves we'll start when we feel ready. But here's the truth. You don't need motivation, you need momentum. The easiest way I've found to beat procrastination: start with the smallest, dumbest, easiest possible task. Write one sentence. Do one push-up. Open the book and just read one page. Because once you start, you keep going. It's Newton's law of learning. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. The silent killer of ambition, and now the big one: distractions. We are surrounded by tools that are literally designed to steal our attention. Your phone, your apps, your tabs, your notifications. Every ping, every buzz. It's draining your focus and frying your reward system. We've become dopamine junkies, addicted to likes, updates, and endless scrolling. And we wonder why we can't concentrate for more than 10 minutes. So here's what you need to do. Turn off your phone completely if possible. Kill unnecessary tabs. Use distraction blockers. Find a quiet space. Put on noise-canceling headphones or no music at all. Try the Pomodoro technique: 25 minutes work, 5 minutes rest. Or go deep, enter a flow state. Whatever works for you. But protect your focus like it's sacred, because it is. Growth loves community. You weren't meant to do this alone. Isolation slows growth, but community, that accelerates it. Surround yourself with other learners. Join forums, study groups, Discord channels. Have conversations. Share insights. Ask questions. And hey, if you're looking for a place to start, join our community. You'll find people on the same journey, facing the same struggles, pushing toward the same goals. Build in public, yes, even if it's scary. One more powerful tool. Share your journey. Start a blog. Launch a channel. Post your progress. You don't need to be an expert to share, you just need to be honest. When you build in public, you gain accountability. You attract feedback. You build communication skills. You gain confidence. And you inspire others often without even realizing it. Trust me, I'm not saying this from theory. I'm saying it from experience. Starting my own channel. One of the best decisions I've ever made. Chapter 3, learn how to learn. All right, now that we've set the foundation, let's talk about the real magic. Learning how to learn, because if you want to become an expert in multiple disciplines, you first need to understand what actually defines expertise. And no, it's not talent, it's not luck, it's not just time. It's about how you use time. Now that we know the essential criteria for developing expertise, let's talk about what really matters. How to learn. Yes, it's a skill, and if you want to master multiple fields, develop polymath level thinking, or even just accelerate your current progress, this is where you begin. Let's break it into stages. Stage 1, preparation. Show the path before you walk. Before you dive in, take a moment to chart your course. Ask yourself, what exactly do I want to learn? What's my end goal? What steps will get me there? Now, don't overthink it. This stage isn't about perfect planning. It's about giving yourself clarity so you don't stall or procrastinate. Luckily, in today's world, you don't have to create a roadmap from scratch. There are already countless learning blueprints online, and many of them are free. Into tech. Check out roadmap.sh for structured plans on becoming a developer or engineer. Into academics, platforms like Khan Academy, MIT, OpenCourse, Where, Stanford Online, or Harvard X offer world-class content for zero cost. Pick your path. Don't obsess. Just decide, map out your next few moves, and start walking. Stage 2. The 3 phases of learning. Learning happens in 3 distinct stages. Each one builds on the last, and if you skip one, you'll struggle later. Let's walk through them. 1. Recollection, so basic learning. At this stage, you're building the foundation. You're memorizing information. You're absorbing facts. It might feel shallow, and that's okay. This is where you build a mental framework. But don't confuse memorization with mastery. You know what something is, but you don't fully understand why it works. This is necessary, but it's only the beginning. 2. Interpretation, aka critical understanding. Now you move deeper. This is where you begin explaining concepts in your own words. You connect ideas, you think critically. You're no longer just memorizing, you're internalizing. You can rephrase things, you can teach them. You start noticing patterns. And most importantly, you're aware of what you still don't know. 3. Application, aka real mastery. This is the stage where you actually use what you've learned. You solve problems, you create new ideas, you innovate, you teach. You can think flexibly within the subject, even push its boundaries. At this point, any remaining gaps are small niche details. You're now entering the world of experts. Embrace the journey, not just the wins. Most people give up on learning because they expect results too fast. You want to master coding, pick up piano, learn Japanese, cool. But let me be real. Mastery doesn't look like a staircase. It looks like a long, flat plateau with sudden random jumps in skill. According to George Leonard in his book Mastery, there are 3 types of learners who fail to reach that plateau. 1. The dabbler. They get excited, start strong, but quit when progress slows. 2. The obsessive. They work too hard, push too fast, and burn out. 3. The hacker. They stop trying once they're good enough and settle for mediocrity. But if you want to win, you need to become something else. You need to become a practitioner, someone who finds joy in the process, who stays consistent even when progress is invisible, who grows on the plateau. Seek mentors, not just information. When you hit a wall and don't isolate, seek out feedback. Find mentors. Study people who've walked the road before you. You don't need someone to hold your hand. You need someone to point out what you don't see and help course correct. Pair this with deliberate practice, working on your weaknesses, not just your strengths, and you'll break through the plateau. Push hard, but recover hard too. You want results, you've got to push your limits. But you also need rest. Because learning, like fitness, happens in recovery. Your brain consolidates knowledge when you sleep, when you pause, when you reflect. Balance the grind with rest. Schedule breaks. Protect your peace. That's how you sustain progress long term. Bonus tips to learn smarter, not harder. Now that the core framework is laid out, here are some practical tools and techniques I wish I knew earlier. 1. Speed reading. You don't need to read every word. Scan, skim, skip what doesn't matter. Define what you're looking for before you start reading and target that. 2. Memory techniques. Use powerful memory systems like the memory palace, chunking, mnemonics. But the most effective ones for me, active recall and spaced repetition. Don't just reread notes. Quiz yourself, space it out, repeat over time. 3. Critical thinking. Understand things at their core. Ask questions. Use deductive and inductive reasoning. Don't stop until you get that aha moment. Push through confusion. That's where breakthroughs are born. 4. Test yourself with challenges. Before exams or real-world application. Stress test your brain. Take practice exams. Solve problems. Build projects. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stretch your capabilities. 5. Cross-pollinate between fields. Polymaths thrive by seeing patterns across disciplines. Philosophy and design. Science and art. Math and in music. The more connections you draw between unrelated fields, the faster you learn. The deeper you think, the more creatively you solve. 6. Leverage the power of AI and finally use the tools we're lucky to have. ChatGPT for concept breakdowns. Ask it to simplify, summarize, or quiz you. Notebook LM to generate study guides using your personal notes and sources. Feed entire books or lectures to AI and have them explain, test, or even tutor you. You are living in the most accessible age of learning ever created. Use it. No, I'm not sponsored. I just know how powerful these tools are because I use them daily. Love the process mastery. Just like Polymath isn't about perfection. It's not about constant upward progress. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being committed to the journey and trusting that consistent action over time beats raw talent every single day. So whether you're just starting out or already deep in your journey, keep showing up, keep practicing, keep learning, because in the end, it's not the destination that defines you. It's the discipline, the curiosity, the grind. Thanks for watching. If this video helped or inspired you, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more deep dives on learning growth and mastering your mind. And as always, stay curious, stay consistent. See you in the next one.